Hey, my name's Angel, and I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about mental health, not from a professional standpoint, but just from personal experience. I'm a little bit sick right now, so I feel like this is kind of the ideal time to talk about this. A lot of us go through different kinds of mental blocks. Um, in my case, I tend to have, I just got a notification. I tend to deal with self isolation. I tend to deal with feelings of loneliness and also feelings of chaos as well as insecurities. Um, these things are pretty general. I feel like a lot of people go through variations of things like this. The reason why I wanted to come on here and talk about it is because I feel like it's been such a hindrance in my life. It's been such a big thing that on the day to day, I don't always recognize how much it's affecting my relationships, my long term goals, my ability to function. And when I'm sick, when I go through physical limitations, I feel like it can aggravate the mental and emotional side of just feelings of like instability, feelings of fear, feelings of anxiety, feelings of depression. I recently moved. That was a big, it brought up a lot for me. It was like a lot of like pressure, went through a lot of different, not just emotions, but just dealing with like the logistics of what moving is like. Sometimes people go through different changes in that way, and it can trigger and cause these types of spirals. Yesterday, I was feeling physically sick, like I had like sickness in my body, and I am predisposed to certain forms of illnesses, just like my immune system being compromised. I go to therapy for PTSD and trauma, and I've experienced a lot of different things that have led me to the point I'm at now where I do experience flashbacks, I do experience just feelings of like instability, chaos, even when that's not present in my physical environment. I'm gonna put like a trigger warning on this video just because I know that when I watch YouTube videos, like sometimes I get so deep into it, I'm like so involved, and I just start to feel like, wow, like I really feel like this person is talking right to me, or I feel like I can so relate to what that person is going through. I think it's a gift to be empathetic and be compassionate. I've also seen how that can change how your whole day goes. When you're not feeling like mentally stable, when you're just going through like so many forms of uncertainty. Um, I was formerly unhoused when I was around like 18. Um, I had a lot of problems at home. I had a lot of problems with coming out as queer. Um, just a lot of different things that kind of led me to having a type of distrust or just having like my guard up around people and getting very like caught up in my head, caught up in my own emotions. I'm trying to break that cycle, And again, I am not speaking at all from a perspective of like I am fully healed. I know like what this is. Like I'll have moments where I'm like, wow, I've made so much progress, or like, wow, like I feel like very healed, like I feel good, and then like the next day I'm like crying, like just having like very high like peaks and valleys of emotions. And I think that's why I wanted to share even more so, because I go online and like I feel like there's so much expectation, like, you know, opening up a video and being like, oh, like these are all someone's red flags, or opening up a video and being like, just having such a critical lens. And I feel like I can get caught up in that too. I can be like, well, I can criticize the way this person is, I could criticize the way that person is, I could criticize like the way the system is, and you know, a lot of times I do. I think in that though, there's like, how do we function despite that? How do we still like just keep going? How do we still maintain positivity in our relationships? I've been recently reading more about hyper individualism. I think that's something that I've definitely fallen into. I think because I've had some like detachment from my family. I've had some friendships like not go well, or I've had a lot of instances where like I'll be like, oh, this person really has my back, or like it's like forms of anxious attachment. Like I'll get like really deep in with like a person, and when that's over it's like very destabilizing. I'm like, okay, like what happened? Like it must be me, like there, you know, like there's something wrong with me. And then like the internal voices start to come up, and I start to be really hard on myself. And I'm talking about this because I know like I'm not the only one, you know. And like when we're talking about loneliness and hyper individualism, I think chronic isolation can really aggravate some of these emotional aspects that don't allow us to really see the positives in how life could be. It's just getting kind of like caught in a loop. And I see online all the time, there's so much emphasis on breaking cycles, breaking generational trauma. I believe in all that. I not just believing it, but I know that there are generational traumas that I'm trying to keep from just spreading beyond me, whether that be within my own family or within friends, anyone that I interact with. There are so many ways of thinking that I was taught that I am now trying to unlearn, while at the same time not being so individualistic, so isolated. Um, my cultural background, I'm Mexican and Ecuadorian. Um, in that there's like mixed too, and I think because of that, I've like, and on top of that, like being queer, like I feel like I've been detached in a way from my cultural experience of very together. I come from a really big family, so everyone's like really together all the time. Like they're very supportive of each other. Even when things are hard, like even when there's fighting, it's like you kind of just always know, like, okay, like we're going to just still like be around, still have each other's back. And I was one of the only ones who was really like, okay, well you're queer, so you're different, you know. And that's not to say that my other siblings, my other family members haven't experienced that in some way too. I've been having these conversations lately about victim mentality, and I think a lot of times we can start to focus on like, okay, well, I've had all these things happen to me. There's been all these like bad things that are happening to me. And it's like, while that may be true, that, you know, that's completely valid. I feel like I've had so many experiences where I'm just like, why, you know, I'm like, why? Why did I have to go through that? I'm just like, not just confused, but angry at the situation, angry as to why I had to have certain harsh experiences. And I'm trying to reframe that also, because when that becomes the focus, it's very easy to spiral into, well, this person doesn't get it. They're never going to understand me. I'm different. Like, you know, all these things where, like, truly you might be hanging out with someone like just on in a very surface level way, not knowing all the things that they've gone through, and they might have some perspective or some understanding, and even if they don't, it's not like anyone's life is without ups and downs. You know, I used to get like way more angry just thinking like, oh well, like this person, like they have this amount of money, they have like this amount of things, like, you know, like getting into the comparative mind. But what that really starts to do is it's like another form of isolation. It's like not seeing a person in their entirety. It's just like, oh, like I just see from the outside like this positive aspect, not knowing like that maybe they're going through hard things emotionally, maybe they're going through, you know, whatever they might be going through, but it's like we just see the outside of, well, like they're high functioning, they're able to do these things, like why can't I do these things? And that's another loop. That is like another added loop of keeping from being able to move forward and make progress in your own life, having like attention to your own life. I had previously talked a little bit about how there's so much conversation around like breaking cycles, and you know, I could go online right now and be like, how do I, you know, like how do I break a cycle, like, but as, you know, people, we are emotional, we have such a range of things that can affect us, and for someone who's experienced trauma, like you can have a range of triggers, a range of things that like will make it hard to break that cycle. Like it's almost like breaking addiction, you know, like if breaking addiction was easy, like it wouldn't be an addiction. It wouldn't be something that you have to keep going back to. And I think emotions are the same way. When we aren't able to manage our emotions, it's like that becomes addictive too. It's like being addicted to negative emotions, being addicted to isolation, being addicted to feelings of inferiority. Like there's so many different things that can be hindering us from even taking like one step in a direction of having like a positive, peaceful life. Um, and on the flip side of that, like there's so many ways to just have a little bit added more joy into your day, a little bit more possibility, a little bit more hope. Thinking about like being unhoused or going through like financial stress, there was so many times where like I came onto YouTube just like watching videos. I'd be like watching all the like I became a millionaire in like 3 months, you know, like how to start a business, how to do these things, how to attract wealth, how to pursue fame, like just anything to get out of my situation. But it wasn't just getting out of my situation, it was getting out of my mental state of my current reality. Like, how do I just even for a moment imagine a different possibility. And I'm bringing this up because I think that it's the same with just taking things step by step, day by day, hour by hour. When we talk about these things, it's like it is like mental war. Like there is so much noise all the time, like we could go online and start receiving all these messages kind of telling us like what's right, what's wrong, what we should do, what will make us feel better. We interact with any person and you're going to kind of get like the same thing. Like everyone has different opinions, everyone has different ideas of what life should be like. Um, and you just kind of hope that like people will show you kindness and openness, but that has to also come from you, you know. And I'm not saying like you directly, I'm saying like me, like it has to come from like me. Like I can't expect you to be like showing me kindness or care if I'm being harsh, you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's reciprocity. And I think when people go through emotional highs and lows, like there's so many internal voices kind of saying like, well, remember when this happened, remember the way that this made you feel, remember the way that this person said something. And we're just kind of like filtering out so many different ideas that are keeping us like in one place. And I've had so many times where like I'll be working on something, be working on some kind of project, and the time will just lapse. Like all of a sudden it's like hours pass and I'm just like, well, what happened? Like I made some progress, but like really I was just like in my mind. And it's like dealing with like rumination, dealing with ways of being disassociating. I'm using all these like words that I hear in therapy or like I hear online, but I think really like if I was to put it like in simple terms, it's like being fixated on things that are making me feel negative emotions and not taking a break from it. Just like having that consistently going on in my head while I'm not physically like aware of everything that's happening right in front of me. I'll be talking about all these things a lot more. I'll be coming on here and like making more videos just because I want to share. I want to hear other people's stories. I want to just like normalize this kind of like conversation, and in a way that is not triggering, that's not like judgmental or like shaming anyone. Like we all go through like really intense things, and I do believe that like people can recover, like we can make amends, we can fix broken relationships. Like there is hope, like anytime that we have time, like me being right here, like you watching this, like in the next moment, there's always opportunity for something new to happen, something to change. And I think it's just like really like following those moments and just trying to get to like the next step and like pursuing it in the most peaceful, joyous way that you can. And that's like even in oversimplification, because I know that it can just be like really hard out there and just dealing with so many things. Like life is hard, and it's hard when we start to compare like, well, why do some people like have it working and others don't? I don't always have the answer for that, but I know that as long as we have time, like we have the ability to change and to grow and make things a little better.